Welcome to John S. Sports Channel, where today we're going through the Championship relegation battle with 8 games to go. 38 games most of those teams have played. We're going to go to the bottom and we're going to have a look at the main contenders. And we're going to start with Plymouth Argyle. Obviously, 38 games, 33 points, and they're now... they're trying to catch Cardiff. Well, everybody's trying to catch Cardiff at the minute on 39, 6 points ahead. Can they get anywhere near them? Well, as far as March is concerned, they've got Watford. Watford away is going to be a little bit difficult. It's a good upper mid-table side, and they're quite consistent. So good defence. Don't always score as many as I think they could score, but yeah, a good, solid upper mid-table team. Probably find that quite difficult. Then we have April. Plymouth Argyle versus Norwich. Now, we know Norwich are a little bit poor at the minute. They keep threatening to go up the table, but then they seem to just be quite stuck at the minute. I mean, they're in 13th at the minute on 49. Certainly not a position that they would have expected themselves to be in at the beginning of the season. Is that winnable? Absolutely. Swansea City then versus Plymouth Argyle. And Swansea City, they started off quite poorly, and they sort of went up that table quite quickly once they started to click, I think. And at the minute, they're in the 16th position. So they have actually improved quite a way. And their scoring ability, although it keeps fluctuating, they are actually quite good at scoring, especially at home. Could be quite a difficult one. Then they got Plymouth Argyle, Sheffield United. Now, we know Sheffield United can have blips, but they are a top side. That's going to be really difficult. Middlesbrough, Plymouth, then that's another difficult game for them. Middlesbrough at home will be quite hard to see any points coming from that. Plymouth Argyle versus Coventry. I think this one could go either way. I know that Coventry are playing really well, and I know that they're pushing there to try and get into that top 10 or even the top 6 a while ago. Let's see where Coventry are at the minute. Yeah, I mean, they're in 5th, so they'll be certainly wanting to stay in there. I've seen them over the weeks just steadily getting into that push for the top 6. Yeah, they're in there now, so it's going to be a really, really difficult game for them against Coventry. But we know that they can have a bit of a trouble at the back. However, and they are away at Plymouth, so they may be able to get a point from that. I doubt it, but they might be able to get something from it. Preston North End then versus Plymouth Argyle, and Preston North End, I remember seeing them sort of not doing that well, and sort of several fans telling me that I don't know what I'm on about, and they're down near the bottom, but they were pushing and getting quite a few good wins in a row, and thinking, and now they're in 14th, and they really do. They are looking like a side that could do well in the last 8 games, and I think that it's going to be quite difficult for them there. So let's look at May and the last game, Plymouth Argyle versus Leeds United. Well, I think we can almost certainly write that one off. So there's a few games here that I think that Plymouth should be thinking about winning. Can they get 2 wins more than teams such as Cardiff? On that count, it's going to be quite difficult. It really is going to be quite difficult. Cardiff City, reasonably, if they could win 2 or 3 out of their last 8, they'll be probably safe from Plymouth Argyle at least. Luton Town now. Let's have a look at Luton Town and see what Luton Town have. Trying to be nice and quick for you, obviously, so we will try and make it as quickly as possible. We're going to March, and it's Hull City versus Luton Town, and Hull City, well, that's a humdinger, isn't it? Hull City not doing very well, dropping down steadily. They're now in 19th. they've not been impressing me at all, Hull City. However, at home, they have a good, I think they have a reasonable defensive strategy at home. Can that beat Luton Town? I think there's likely to be a draw, but it's certainly one that Luton Town will be thinking we can win. And realistically, it's probably a must-win, because next up in April is Luton Town versus Leeds United. And I'm sorry, Leeds are really technical, and they do what they have to do to try and get the win. Works most of the time. Okay, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they have a rare blip and lose points to the most odd team. However, I can't see that happening here. Stoke City versus Luton Town, and Stoke City. This is another one of those games, isn't it, where you see the likelihood of points coming from. They could certainly win Stoke City. However, we are talking Stoke City at home. So, Hull City and then Stoke City 2 games later, that's 2 games that they certainly will be thinking we can win. Then you see Luton Town versus Blackburn Rovers. And of course, Luton Town at home, a little bit better, I think, at home. But Blackburn Rovers, they've been a little bit up and down. I think they're starting to get back into it again now. 9th, dropped down quite a way. I think reasonably, they're probably thinking they need to win these games around this time to try and keep up a push, at least on that 6th place, which is at the minute 57, and they're on 52. So the likes of Blackburn are really wanting to push up. So I think Luton Town, Blackburn, quite difficult, not out of their remit. They they do get the run of the green occasionally, Blackburn, without playing super football. I think that Blackburn is likely to win, but it's one that Luton will like to get at least a point from. Derby County versus Luton Town next, and you can see when they're playing another lower team. That's 3 of the lower teams that that Luton Town are facing. This has to be an easy running, doesn't it? Luton Town versus Coventry next, and before the end of the year, we get a rather tough game at home to Coventry. Coventry is going to be quite a tough game there, I think. Although, like I said before, they've rocketed into that position now, and I just wonder if they can, by that sort of stage, are they going to be safe in a top 6 position, or are they not? There is a chance that they may very well be, in which case, and I think that's what's going to be the key thing here. What they play Coventry in the next to last game, it's really going to be up to Coventry. Coventry won't want to waste players on that they need to be playing in the playoffs, so they may take it a little bit easy. West Brom versus Luton next, and then they finish a year with a rather tough game at the Drawthorns. Going to be really, really difficult, that one, but we can see that Luton Town certainly have an easier running than Plymouth Argyle. Then let's go to Derby County, the last team in the bottom 3. And we go to we go to March's. Nothing in March. Then we go to April. So let's see what we've got in April. We've got Derby County versus Preston North End, and Derby Preston is going to be an interesting game. Preston mid-table, but they are getting better, and Preston are not one of those sides I would want to be facing at the minute. They are improving, then they are steadily getting up that table, and it just shows you that even 1 or 2 points now and again in the mid-table, it's that flat can take you up that league. They are actually improving. Derby County not. I think it's going to be quite difficult. Swansea City versus Derby County next on the 5th of April. That's actually quite difficult. Wednesday they face Preston at home, and then Swansea on the 5th on Saturday. It's quite a tough schedule they've got, isn't it? Because then they've got another game on Tuesday against Burnley. So this is going to be a tough 3 games, I fear. Swansea derby, again, that's a sort of middle table game. Can they do it? Yeah, it's not out of the realms of impossibility, but I think that they could do it. It's not going to be easy, but yeah, it's a possibility. Derby Burnley next, and that's where it's going to be a little bit harder to see them turning them over. It is at Derby. They're quite good at home. The atmosphere is brilliant down there, and I fear that that's got to be the thing they're going to have to use and utilise really well. Portsmouth versus Derby next, and Portsmouth are realistically, they're my local team. They play their best football at home. Absolutely no doubt about it. They are quite hard to beat at home, but not that hard to beat away. Portsmouth versus Derby is going to be quite difficult. I can see Portsmouth trying to make sure that they don't lose against those teams below them. They're just about on the beach at the minute. They need 1 or 2 games. By then, they're probably thinking, yeah, we need 1 more win. And that's probably going to be the game, guys, that Portsmouth are going to really target to make themselves safe. So it's going to be a lot harder, I think, the Portsmouth game, than it looks, because of where Portsmouth will be at that point is quite likely to be, I need to win this to make sure we are safe. Derby County Luton then, and that's one we covered earlier. It's going to be one of those that Derby and Luton both intend to win. As long as we don't start seeing these games which we've seen recently of 2 teams that want to win, that have to win, but they play the game so that they certainly don't lose it, and then you get a dull bore draw. I'm hoping that's not what happens. I'm hoping they both try and win the game, and may the best team win. West Brom versus Derby County, and again we see one of the bottom teams being played by West Brom. We have to be erring on the side of West Brom, don't we? Hull City then, Derby County, in a game before the end of the season, and then again they have to be thinking we need to win this one, surely. And then it's Derby Stoke City to finish it off, and Stoke City are actually dropping like a rock in 20th. Now this is actually an even easier set of fixtures, I think, than Luton Town. So we've got in 24th Plymouth in with a relatively hard set of games. Luton Town a little bit easier perhaps, and then Derby County in 22nd with slightly easier than that. So it bodes not very well for the teams above then, does it? Cardiff City and Stoke will continue to have a look at. So we'll go for Cardiff City, a team that's just bounced, as it usually does, to be quite honest, just above the relegation zone. And once again they're there. Cardiff City versus Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield Wednesday, I'm afraid, are in a position where they really did think that with 1 or 2 wins, extra wins, they could have been pushing for that 6th slot, which at the minute is 50. It's only 6 points ahead. They're gonna want to win this because they've just lost against the Blades. They're gonna absolutely need to win this one to have any hope of stealing that 6th slot in the Championship. They won't want to lose this one. They're quite capable of winning this one. I can't see them losing it. QPR versus Cardiff City, and QPR. Really solid mid-table performance this year, but they can play really good, solid defensive football. I think that they've been playing quite good at home, and although some people might disagree with me, I think that it's going to be quite difficult Cardiff City to win at QPR. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I'd probably put it in the same remit as the next game, Preston North End versus Cardiff City. Again, I mean, they're both together, aren't they, Preston and QPR? These games away at two mid-table teams, is it going to be a case of they're on the beach and we don't care? It may be by then, who knows? They may have the feeling that they're not going up, they're not going down. Who cares? We'll just try a few different things for next season. In which case, it might be a little bit easier, but we can't. It's that on the beach side of it that's going to be a little bit difficult, isn't it? Cardiff City, Stoke City, obviously one of those games that they have to think is definitely winnable. Sheffield United, Cardiff City, can't really see it, but Sheffield United have dropped points at home to the more unusual contenders. Cardiff City then versus Oxford, and we have to think that is something that they can whip up a really good atmosphere. If Cardiff City can get the atmosphere going down there, Oxford can be pressurised by that extra man. I actually think that could be winnable at Cardiff, because they're very good at home indeed. They're one of the better sides at home that I've seen in the Championship, believe it or not. The change at home as opposed to away, for me, the style, the class and the keeping up the game plan is really good at home. They could win that. Cardiff City, West Brom, and again we got West Brom in the they must play nearly every bottom side here. Difficult to see them getting anything from that. And then you go into May, and it's Norwich versus Cardiff, which could be winnable. So the last game of the season, we could very well see that last game where they have to win, Norwich to stay up, because at the minute I'd say they're slightly worse off in the running than Derby County for me. I think Derby County's got some really good games, but they're against teams in the bottom who also want to intend winning those games. So it's going to be a really difficult thought of, will it be that last game? It very well could be. If Derby could win their easier games. There are no easy games in the Championship. You don't need to dislike me for that one. There aren't any easy games, but they're easier than the others, and they have so many of them that they could quite easily catch up the likes of Cardiff. Let's just finish with we're going to finish with Stoke City, because then we've got Hull City 2 points ahead of that, and Oxford 3 and Portsmouth 3 points. And I think that by then we're sort of hoping that there's some major slip-ups. We're just looking at the average type of teams that they're playing. So we'll look at Stoke City last and see whether we see Stoke City getting pulled into this, which certainly a few weeks ago we'd have been thinking, no, that's never going to happen in a million years. However, does seem a little bit more likely now. Stoke City versus QPR, and again, at home, I can see Stoke City thinking, we can do this. We can certainly at least get a point from the QPR game. We may be able to sneak 3 from a mid-table side. We should be able to sneak 3. We have in the past, but past form seems to have died off. Preston North End versus Stoke, and again we're seeing those mid-table teams, only this time it's a Preston North End side that's getting slightly better, isn't it? I can't see Stoke getting anything there. Stoke City, Luton Town, and at last they get a game they might be able to win. It's followed by Cardiff City, Stoke City, and another game they might be able to win. Stoke City, Sheffield Wednesday, and by then it may very well be that Sheffield Wednesday are definitely on the beach and they can't really get into the top 6, or they'll be right under or on the bottom edge of the top 6, and they won't intend losing this one. So this could go either way. This could be just perfectly timed for it being an easy game, easier game, or it could be poorly timed and they're really pushing for that top 6. So could go either way. Leeds United, Stoke City, again, I don't see that going any other way. Stoke City, Sheffield United, ouch. What a 2 games to finish that month off with is. May then, and they finish with Derby County. Wow. And Derby County, Stoke City, and they're away, which that's a cauldron of a place to play sometimes, Derby. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that Stoke City's, again, is not an easy end. There are a couple of decent games in there in April, aren't there? We've got the Cardiff City game, and that's and perhaps the Wednesday, but realistically, it's the Cardiff and the Luton games, isn't it, for them in April, and finishing with the Derby County one. So they have a reasonable number of easier games. I think Stoke City on that count will be probably thinking, wow, we can do this one as long as we don't make any major cock-ups in the easier games. If they lost all 3 easy games, then you'd be thinking they're in trouble because they're giving 9 points to the teams below them. Not a good idea in their present position. So, on average, Stoke City, got a good chance of staying out of that bottom 3. Cardiff City, a little bit more difficult, I think. I think who they're playing and when they're playing them is quite critical here. Could be quite a difficult running for Cardiff City, which will really bring on that Derby County run. Derby County has got probably for me the easiest looking run in. Followed by Luton Town and then Argyle in the bottom 3. Unfortunately, that means for me, Plymouth's got an uphill task here. They've got to pull out some real corker of games towards the end of the year to be able to stay up. Can't see it happening. Luton Town, they could do it. They've got an easier run than Plymouth, but they've still got that 4-point gap at the minute with 8 games to go. It's going to be difficult to see them catching Cardiff, who, yes, have a probably an equally tough game set as what they have. And it's going to be interesting to see which one plays those games better than the other one. And can it overturn 4 points? Don't think it can. However, Derby County fans, I would be saying you have a chance here. Better games than Cardiff City, probably about the same as Stoke. And if you happen to do better than them by 1 or 2 games, 1 or 2 wins, you could actually put both of them underneath you. So it's going to be, for me, the last place to go down in the Championship is going to be either Derby County, Cardiff City, or Stoke City. Can't really see any of the others dropping into that position as well. What do you think? It's John S.'s Sports Channel for a quick who's going to get relegated from the Championship this year, 2024, 2025. Like and subscribe, and if you don't like it, just leave me a comment. Try not to dislike it. It is just for fun. John S.'s Sports Channel, over and out. Like and subscribe.